body, take it off, and then we're going to proceed to the face. And then there's other action going on behind that Nathaniel can direct. Okay? So, I think just going to have a chat.
Yeah.
Do you think we should just get on with it?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody watching, we're reporting live from a crime scene in Canary Wharf. We've just been made aware that there's a major investigation going on, looking into money that's getting spent by this establishment on investing in billions in fossil fuel industry. We've already been joined just right now by the police. He's radioing in, obviously more people. The suspect that we're looking for is professionally known as Barclays Bank. There's been observed throughout the past half century demonstrating such suspicious behaviours as backing and working with regimes notorious for poor human and environmental records. Despite all this knowledge and knowing what they're doing, they're continuing investing billions in fossil fuel industry. Since signing the Paris Accord in 2015, Barclays banks have invested 65 billion in fossil fuel industries and extraction industries, flying in the face of climate science. Looks like we've got ourselves a crime scene here. We've got the police here already. In case you're just joining us, we're here in Canary Wharf in front of the headquarters of Barclays Bank PLC. We're making them aware and all the shareholders aware that what they're doing is totally unacceptable. Taking one example in case, Barclays is Europe's top financier of ExxonMobil. That's right, ExxonMobil. We're currently leading the way in the largest extraction of oil and gas in the world. Also, Barclays Bank investing in slavery, apartheid, ecocide. We've got officials now from Barclays coming out to see what's going on. We have our crime scene. We've got the forensic team are coming to set up now. They're going to be investigating to what's actually going on here. And right behind us, we've got more police coming. They're obviously very interested in investigating into the crime scene as well. Hopefully they're going to be investigating what actually happened here and what's actually happening in this building. If we want to stop ecological and climate emergency, we need to cut off the funding that's going into creating new oil, gas and coal extraction around the world. And to do that, we need to get the likes of Barclays to stop investing billions. So said again, they've invested £65 billion, 85 billion since the Paris Accord was signed in 2015. Okay, police have arrived here. Looks like the police is watching the crime scene. We've got the crime scene tape is going on. The area's been cordoned off. Stop anybody going in there upsetting the evidence. Got some watchful eyes going on. The fates of 2019, 2020, we're still having record-breaking temperatures across the world. We're having a heat wave in Siberia going on, and yet we're getting the likes of all these companies, HSBC, Barclays, and a lot of major banks are still investing billions. And in fact, I think it's the point of 1.9 trillion in new oil and gas extraction. So we got 4 times more stored hydrocarbons in the ground that are on the books of banks, shareholders, that the atmosphere can actually take for, you know, survival of this planet. And here we can see the crime scene. We're getting joined by obviously more police, very interested to see what's actually going on here. Hopefully they're going to be investigating Barclays Bank. Stop genocide, change the law. We're going to have a couple of speakers, a couple of different organisations telling us exactly what's going on. In case you're just joining us, we're reporting live here from Canary Wharf in central London, where the headquarters of Barclays Bank is just here. We're highlighting the fact that the billions that they're contributing, amounting to trillions with other financiers, that are investing in fossil fuel extraction and other unethical investments is totally unacceptable, and to let them know that we're watching and the world is watching. We get more people from Barclays are coming out to see what's going on. Barclays is financing ecocide crimes. The unethical behaviours of the bank is not going to go unnoticed. We can see that with this crime scene. Oh. As you can see here, it's pretty windy here today. We need to make sure that crime scene is undisturbed so we can get proper investigation of exactly what's going on here today. An open letter has been given to Jeff Stanley, the CEO of Barclays Bank. It's going to be delivered by hand. Let's see if they will actually allow them in to deliver it. In the letter, it's explaining that the human rights records of what they're doing. It's highlighting the billions of pounds that have been invested in fossil fuels, which they already know about, they're already very aware. The shareholders know about it as well. Shareholders have been voting for Barclays to do divest. Side, ecocide.
Morality, not money. Morality, not money. Morality, not money. Morality, not money.
Ecocide! 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 Ecocide!
Here we go. It's very windy.
Ecocide! 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 Ecocide!
Yeah, let's go for it. Okay, we're going to have people now talking about finance. We got people who used to work in the financial sector. Chitty, how you doing? Okay, we got Chitty here. We're live right now.
Have we got time to mic him up?
Absolutely, you've got mic him up. Just got to mic Chitty up. Chitty's has worked in finance and understands exactly all about the funding of fossil fuels. What we need to be doing is taking all the money that we're investing in fossil fuels and just reinvest it in sustainable investments, renewable energy. Move out of the way. Got a van coming through. Got to mic them up. There you go. In case you're just joining us, we're in front of Barclays Bank PLC headquarters at Churchill Place in Canary Wharf. It's a very grand looking building where we have a crime scene with the crime of ecocide. We are suspecting that Barclays Bank is the main culprit, is actually responsible for this. There's a new website. If Sharkies, if you go and Google this, you can go and see the new website, sharkleys.co.uk. Please go and check out the website. We'll tell you all about the unethical investments that are going on. We need to cut off the finance that's going into unethical investments such as slavery that's causing crimes like this of ecocide. It's absolutely ludicrous, since we've actually signed the Paris Accord, that it's actually allowed for companies such as Barclays PLC to invest billions and billions and billions in further extraction. It's just totally unacceptable.
The only thing is
There you go. We got people from Stop Ecocide Earth as well. We're getting mic'd up here. Under the watchful eye. So far, the police have kept the distance from the crime scene. Yeah, just stand wherever.
So hold the mic. Hello?
Yeah, just speak normally. Just speak
No
normally.
problem.
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Hello everyone. My name is Chidi Oti-Mara. Sorry, no problem. Hello everyone. My name is Chidi Oti-Mara. Rivers, Kentucky. I used to work in a bank here, and we're here today to draw attention to one of the most profoundly important aspects of the way finance is done today, in this place, in this city, in this country. Finance is the fuel that allows the fossil fuel industry to keep on burning. Banks like Barclays are the institutions that form the backbone of our current political economy, and the actions they take have consequences for all of us. That's why I'm here today. Now, finance is not homogenous. There are good guys and there are not so good guys. And as we all know, we've sent a letter to the chief executive of Barclays because we want the board, all stakeholders and staff and customers of the bank to know that there are things the bank must do to improve the way that it works to make the world a better place. I'll read from the letter to give you an idea of what it is we're asking for. On the 7th of June of this year, a statue of Edward Colston was thrown into the lagoon in Bristol. On the 10th of June, Lloyd's of London apologised for their part in the slave trade. Now, Barclays have not done the same thing. We're asking them to follow suit. We have three demands. A, that they tell the truth. B, that they act now. And 3, that they show some leadership in following the City of London's People's Climate Assembly's recommendations for how they can behave properly. We know that the TFCD, the Task Force for Climate Disclosures, has been asking Barclays to disclose all of its existing carbon footprint from its existing loans. We're demanding that Barclays do so with immediate effect, especially those that cause massive acts of ecocide, including, for example, the 1.2 billion it's invested in Shell and the actions they're taking in the Niger Delta that have endangered millions of lives and destroyed ecosystems and fauna in ways that are entirely unavoidable and should not be profited from. We're asking everyone in and out of the finance industry to join us in putting pressure on Barclays. Make them behave properly. 150 years ago, they were involved in the slave trade, and they've denied it and walked away from it. A couple of decades ago, they were involved in apartheid South Africa, and they've also walked away from that. We must hold their feet to the fire. We cannot let them continue to perpetuate ecocide by supporting the fossil fuel industry globally in a blind and mindless way. Please join us. We of course come in peace. We're doing this in a non-violent way, but we need to attract attention, and we need to get Barclays and its senior management to make the right strategic decisions. Mark Carney at the Bank of England, formerly at the Bank of England, UN Ambassador for Climate Change Finance, has been asking everyone, and now we're asking Barclays, to disclose their full Scope 3 carbon emissions on their balance sheets today, and to cease funding cash flow, project and corporate finance for the fossil fuel industry. It's extremely important. We need your help. Please join us.
Thank you. Oh, that's yours.
Thanks very
much.
That's Judy. Very, very good to meet you.
There you are. And you've worked in finance.
I used to work down the road.
You worked in Canary Wharf, so
yes.
you understand what actually goes on here.
I do, and there are lots and lots of very good people here
Yeah.
who have, great intent when they come to work.
Mm-hmm.
The system is perverse.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to attempt to make a profit while destroying the environment within which you live. You can't hold your breath and count your money indefinitely. And all we're doing is calling them out to the reality of the world today. They can do better.
Yeah.
They can invest in businesses that help the SDGs suggested by the UN.
What's SDGs?
Oh, the Strategic Development Goals.
Okay, yeah.
So, including improving the environment, helping gender equality, including bringing more human rights like greater worker equality, access to water. All of those things can be done by businesses that are profitable, that are sustainable. And it's the kind of thing Barclays' gigantic balance sheet should be supporting, not unpleasant and unkind, ecocidal and sometimes genocidal businesses.
Yeah.
That's not a business of the future. That's a business of a very ugly past that Barclays needs to acknowledge and move away from. That's why we're here.
And did you? Yeah. Oh, we're okay. Thank you, Jed. Thank you.
Thank
Very much. Okay. Should we switch sides? Switch sides, yeah, absolutely. Can I just kind of? You okay to just hold that, or just maybe just put it around you so I can just? Yeah.
Yeah.
Speak. There you go.
Oh, it's just.
Is that just wait a moment? So yeah, so this is just the microphone just here. So
Yeah.
that's why I just put that just
Oh
there.
yeah.
Do you mind really quickly just tell me what we had for breakfast for our sound
Okay.
level?
So we got the police just here.
What was your breakfast like?
I didn't have breakfast this morning.
What's your name?
Jess.
Jess.
Madison.
Jess, where are you from, Jess?
I'm from Teesside.
Teesside.
Yeah.
Wow. All the way up north.
Yeah.
So we've just been joined. In case you're just joining us here, we're in front of Barclays Bank headquarters in Canary Wharf, where we're at a crime scene where crimes of ecocide, apartheid, slavery, and investing in hydrocarbon fuels, fossil fuels, is happening in this building right behind us here. Sorry. We've got a police liaison going on. There you go. Sorry, I'll just, I can put that just there. Is that okay there?
Yeah.
There you go. Oops. There you go. Oh, sorry. So speak away.
Ignorance, idleness, greed and power, the factors that have subsequently led the human race into a state of subconscious turmoil. We are now in the depths of an emergency, the sixth mass extinction and the greatest existential crisis that mankind has ever faced. This is systematic failure to the highest degree. This is hellish. This is criminal. This is a case to be taken to the highest of powers, and that power is the people. While flames tear through the homes of countless sentients, they rip through the hearts of a globe. Where sirens of change should have sounded, bells for what seems as if the end of time instead toll. Ashes of a paradise that once was fall upon the lands of the living. Remnants of the misery that has swept our planet, and a reminder of what is to come. 'Tis a searing mnemonic that money burns and pennies melt. Dollars and cents and pounds and pence do not guarantee mortality. While water engulfs whole cities, the hope for a future is cloaked. While those in the global south are on the brink of famine, the path of oppression that led to this is concealed behind a gate of superficial compassion and hazed with the smog of meaningless words. While children and students sleep at night, Barclays funds the fracking and mining and burning of our future. You see, companies like Barclays seem to be juggling a surplus of greed and ignorance and apathy, yet running in a deficit where accountability and respect for our home is concerned. When I look upon Barclays, I see humans, yet no humanity. That is why I am demanding they alter their ways. I'm begging they invest in our future instead of our demise. I'm demanding that they set a precedent for all other fossil fuel funders to follow. But I am also begging students and young people to bank ethically, to sever ties with this hellish organisation and to take a stance. The shaking of two hands in a not so distant money-driven land causes the cries of the youth, the deaths of the vulnerable and the injustice of minorities. But may I assure you, the injustice of a minority is the injustice of man, and the injustice of man is a problem for us all. Students deserve better. Minorities deserve better. The human race deserves better. We deserve better than to serve the purpose of profit at the price of our lives. We, the people, hereby demand the surrendering of all industry that is used as a weapon towards our home. Barclays now have a choice to make, to choose rehabilitation over destruction, unity over division, and life over profit. We are here to take on, to challenge, to deplete the power of the criminals who sell the world, because those criminals who sell the world, they are actively playing Russian roulette with our lives. They are the demons that factory farm broken robots that are hardwired to dismiss change, and the devils that starve us of a future. Their apathy has an ever-growing body count. An avalanche is coming and our defences are crumbling. The walls we build will not protect us, and those gold and green paper havens we so rapidly exchange will not save us. Monetary stability and economic advances are simply not enough. We need actions and a shift in the orientation of man. For economic growth is merely a blanket of superficial security that we place upon ourselves to allow the bypassing of the true ecological crisis. We must not put a numerical price upon this emergency. The price must be seen as our life that is to be lost if our actions remain unchanged. Barclays has the power to invest in an ever-growing green sector, the power to empower future generations, the power to secure a future for generations. And that is why, if we choose to act, it must be now. If we choose to change, it must be drastic. And if we choose to live, then it must be in harmony. Thank you.
Right. Powerful words. And a very blowy day. Very windy.
I hate to ask, but could you read the first paragraph again?
Yeah.
Do you want to stand just slightly sideways? Oh yeah, okay. Just give you an idea what's going on here. So this is the crime scene we got going on here. And it's very, keeps on blowing over. We've been joined by quite a lot of police here, obviously very interested in the crime that's happening in this building. We've got a website set up called Sharkies. Sharkleys.co.uk, and it explains about the amount of money that's been invested in the fossil fuel industries and where the actual people's money is going. So if you bank with Barclays, directly and indirectly, we're all actually helping them invest in unethical practices. There you go. Who's up next? There you go. So we're moving into Act 3 now. How have the police been so far?
We've gathered.
Yeah.
We're making sure it's all safe. At the moment, we're fighting the elements to keep the evidence here. We want to make sure the evidence stays here, doesn't get contaminated, and then we're just battling the wind to make sure it sticks and we find the right culprits, and we can make that evidence stick to the scene.
Okay. Do you have any idea, any suspects in mind?
We have a few suspects, one namely behind me, but we can't rule out everybody, so we have to make sure we keep the search wide and varied, and keep as many people in line with our inquiries.
Well, officer, keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, sir.
Make sure that crime scene is kept safe.
We'll try and keep it pristine as possible.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Full investigation.
Full investigation.
There we go. So we're going to have a full investigation into this crime scene. Just going to pan out. In case you're just joining us, we're at Barclays PLC headquarters here in Canary Wharf, where there's a crime scene going on. There's going to be an investigation. Crimes of ecocide, artificial slavery. We just heard from the young lady of taking away the future. There's sorry. Use it again. Yeah. Okay. You're delivering the letter?
Yeah.
There we go. We're a police escort and tail, delivering the letter to, it's going to the CEO of Barclays? Yeah, so it's going to Jess Stanley, CC Barclays Board from Extinction Rebellion. Okay? Getting a police escort coming up to the doors of Barclays. Oh, is it? So we're delivering a letter to the CEO.
Could you let us in, please? Just delivering a letter. Yep, just going to deliver a letter. That's all we're doing. We're delivering the evidence. If you withhold from giving us the evidence, it just shows your culpability in the clarity, unfortunately, and this will hold against you in court. So please let us in so we can proceed with the evidence and proceed with our procedures.
No, you can't get under me.
They won't take the evidence.
Yeah. Can it squeeze in through the side of the door?
Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave you this evidence. We'll be back again and try our best to give you the evidence.
We got some unhappy looking people here.
We're just going to leave the evidence here. Thank you very much. You can take it.
They look
Thank you very much.
they look very, very afraid to take a piece of paper of evidence. It's been left at the door of Barclays HQ, headquarters here in Canary Wharf. There's no letterbox. So they're refusing to come out and actually take the letter, which is a pretty poor show. Big shout out to everybody who's joining us. Somebody's asking what evidence. We've got evidence that the money invested from the shareholders is going into fossil fuel extraction.
The next bit's a little bit complicated because it's an actual staged performance.
Oh yeah?
Can we cross you?
Yeah, of course you can.
Because you're saving the video stream, aren't you?
Yeah. So we're gonna have a performance now. How are you doing, young man?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
So just we were a little bit shocked. We tried to deliver a letter and they refused to take the letter from us.
Really?
Any idea why they'd be doing that?
Well, I think failing to listen and refusing to listen and refusing to engage is probably a sign that they know that what would be in that letter would be difficult reading. It's I think when it's presented, it's a simple and honest argument that we're putting to them here. So it's a shame.
Okay, well, that's fingers crossed they might take it, but it looks unlikely.
Hard truths.
Here we go. So we're getting ready for the next stage here. Are you going to be giving a talk as well? Yeah. What's your name?
Matt.
Oh, Matt. Okay. Yeah.
And yours?
Fergal.
Fergal. I think we met outside BlackRock.
Yes. Yeah. Another nice ethical investor, BlackRock, largest investor in fossil fuels and oil extraction in the world.
Yes. That was the old days, though. They've changed.
They've changed. And what are you doing here?
Well, there's been a crime I'm investigating.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So, from your experience, what's the steps we go through in investigating a crime?
Well, try and find out who's done it, basically. And here, there's quite a lot of evidence pointing in that direction. Barclays.
Yeah.
From slavery, supporting apartheid, and ecocide. Unfortunately, ecocide is not a crime at the moment, but it is about time it is.
Mm-hmm. So why isn't ecocide a crime? Considering it's killing it's killing the very thing that we live on.
And it's killing thousands of people through food insecurity and poisoning water, air pollution. Obviously, we lose 26 people a day in London from bad air, and it's all part of ecocide. So it should be made, put into legislation and made a crime, a serious crime.
Yeah,
it kills people. So.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully they might be getting a message inside, and maybe the shareholders are getting a message. I think the shareholders are starting to understand about where the money's actually going to, and they're starting to revolt as well. I
heard in their last AGM, there was quite a big push for them to change their ways, and they haven't.
No, it's profit over people and planet.
Exactly. Yeah. Are we off?
Okay.
A bit of a film thing.
There we go. So we've got something going on now. Oh, we've got the ecocide inspector has now come. Is all suited up, not to contaminate the crime scene. He's examining what's going on here. There we go.
Where's Any thoughts on the cause of death?
Definitely ecocide.
Ecocide?
Oh yes, the worst case I've ever seen. It's the mass damage and destruction of ecosystems. Could be deforestation or contamination of land or water with oil or chemical spills, or air pollution, or even damage to the oceans.
I'm surprised. This must cause thousands of deaths. Is that not a crime?
No, it isn't a crime.
What?
It isn't a crime, Inspector.
So let's get this straight. People can go around, they can pump poison into the air, they can put toxic waste into the rivers, they can chop rainforests down, thank you, they can, thank you, they can take the tops off mountains, they can pour oil into the oceans and still get away with it.
I'm afraid so, Inspector. They've been getting away with it for decades. It's why we're in a climate and an ecological crisis.
Okay, that can't be right.
It's about as far from right as it gets. It doesn't stop it being true though, and with things hotting up, we are looking at melting ice caps, more natural disasters, crop failures. We're going to be seeing a lot more loss of life if we don't act quickly.
Who's in the frame? Who's done it?
Oh, lots of people, Inspector. There are loads of ecocidal organisations out there, but with this particular case, I think our old friends Barclays are at play.
Barclays. I can't believe they're back to their old tricks again. Look at their previous. All that business with slavery and supporting apartheid.
Oh, definitely. Their fingerprints are all over this. I mean, they never actually apologised for all that slavery stuff, did they?
Oh no, they didn't.
And their record on the environment is appalling. Since the Paris Agreement of 2015, they financed fossil fuel extraction to the tune of 90 billion.
90 billion quid?
91 billion to be precise. Barclays is the biggest funder of fossil fuels in Europe, 7th biggest in the world. They're Europe's #1 in Arctic oil and gas exploration, fracking, coal.
Coal?
That's right.
But coal is the filthiest fuel there is. Surely they're not still digging that up.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? Given that 80% of coal reserves need to stay underground if we're to avoid catastrophic global heating. But Barclays are financing the expansion of the Adani mine in Australia. If that goes ahead, it won't just wreck the climate. It'll deplete groundwater, trash indigenous rights and ruin the Great Barrier Reef.
Hang on a minute, something's not quite adding up here.
What, Inspector?
I interviewed them last spring and they said they were going straight.
I'm surprised you fell for that one.
Well, I'm sure they promised to go net zero by 2050.
2050 is no good. It needs to be sooner, a lot sooner.
But didn't they also, they voted a new climate resolution at their AGM last spring as well?
That resolution's a greenwash. There are no time-bound commitments to phasing out fossil fuel investments, even though about a quarter of their shareholders asked for precisely that.
Well, that's useless.
Look, Bob, they aren't changing their behaviours. It's not just Adani, they've invested in oil fields in the Niger Delta and a new coal plant in Germany. The list is endless. They'll tell you about the green investments they're making. It's just one drop in a very polluted ocean. Are you okay, Bob? You seem upset.
No, I am upset. I'm livid. I'm livid. To think that's on my manor under our noses.
I'm sorry.
Well, we can't, well, it's not a crime, is it? So we can't nick them, so what do we do?
Who do you bank with?
Barclays, but it's on the high street, isn't it? It's there.
Then you can switch, and you can tell any mate who bank with Barclays to switch. It's really easy. Anyone can go to www.switch.
I'm definitely going to do that. This has to stop. I'm going to do it straight away. What was that address again?
www.switchit.money.
I work for Barclays and I've been listening to your conversation. I had no idea that this was going on. I mean, it's awful. I'm sure most of my colleagues don't know either. I guess I'll have to start telling them.
That's a good idea. See if that one's equal sign. See if they'll put pressure on the lamp from the inside.
I have another idea.
What's that?
Well, I think you should ask them to stop.
What?
Write to Barclays and ask them to change. Go right to the top of the CEO. Ask him to tell the truth by punishing their investments in fossil fuels. Ask him to act now and commit to zero carbon by 2030 instead of 2050.
You really think that might work?
What? Asking people to tell the truth. I mean, but they've got an opportunity here, haven't they? Yeah, they've got the money, they've got the influence. What they have to do is invest it in the right places. They could help lead a just recovery from COVID-19 in a way that makes up for all the bad stuff and still turns a profit in a way that benefits everyone, not just them.
It's an interesting idea. It might even work in their favour. It's people of the day who are not willing to accept the Barclays status quo.
Exactly. Banks made up of people.
Could you just give us a head, please?
The suspects seem to be pointing out Barclays PLC. We just tuned in. We're here at Canary Wharf, where we're in investigation of a crime scene. We've got what looks like some fossil fuels going on here. Yeah, this was I thought. It's pieces of coal, dirty, filthy coal that's being extracted at alarming rates all around the world, and is being funded by Barclays Bank.
Finding quite a lot of evidence of ecocide.
So talk me through this crime scene.
So in this crime scene, if we can actually manage
Stop from getting blown
stop
away.
everything from all bits of evidence from getting blown away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're seeing evidence of multiple incidents of ecocide, including the dumping of coal.
Dumping of coal. So
in
what? Coal?
Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
A 12-storey high pile of coal ash, which exposed the local communities to major public health hazards.
Why would they be? Why are they throwing coal away?
Pardon?
What are they doing? They're polluting with.
So
AES.
AES, who are underwritten by Barclays,
Yeah.
with bonds and loans. They dumped coal, and then when the hurricane hit, the coal ash went everywhere, and now the local community is suffering from cancer.
The more unethical
diseases.
practices by Barclays. It looks like they purposely turned the wind off to get it all blown away. Hi Matt.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Good, good. What's going on?
Well, I'm from the Stop Ecocide campaign, and I'm here to talk about hope. And there really is hope here. There's hope, not just crossing your fingers, hoping it's all going to get better on its own, because clearly it's not. We need action, and this is the hope I'm talking about, hope in action. And this is the hope and indeed trust that we all have the capacity to do the right thing, and that this world contains far, far more good and honest people than bad and corrupt. And that those working in corrupt and destructive businesses like Barclays will wake up and challenge themselves and those around them about these practices, these ecocidal practices, and move through these broken and toxic systems to a new paradigm where we are not admiring our Rolexes, but instead looking into the eyes of our children and grandchildren. Now, Barclays were recently confronted by their murky involvement in the slave trade, and a spokesman from Barclays said the history of Barclays, like other institutions, is being examined following recent events. We can't change what's gone before us, only how we go forward. We are committed as a bank to do more to further foster our culture of inclusiveness, equality and diversity for our colleagues and the customers and clients we serve. Now, that's great. It's fantastic. Great window dressing. However, if Barclays are serious about looking at how they go forward, then they must examine what they are still doing in the name of profit. And this time it's not subjugating and abusing fellow human beings like slavery and indeed apartheid and making money from it. This time it's attacking the mother of us all, the planet. The same algorithm of taking resources for profit that the slavery trade was can now be mapped onto the destructive resource theft and abuse that's been happening for decades and is invested in by Barclays. So it's the human condition to make a grab for anything that can exonerate or ease conscience at any strata of bank or corporation. And people will hungrily believe the internal memos and the intranet, as well as the greenwashed messaging spewing out front. But these ring-fenced departments basically really need to melt away, and people as individuals need to wake up to what's happening under their noses. Now, these people that work at Barclays are human beings with families and a lot of love in their lives, and they just need to wake up. We need these people on the side of humanity rather than on the side of profit. Now, mass damage to the environment is a term. We use the term ecocide for this, and the term's been around for a long time, since the 1970s in fact, when it was used to describe the nasty environmental legacy of Agent Orange in Vietnam. But more recently, ecocide has come to prominence through the work of Polly Higgins, our dear friend, who gave up a lucrative corporate career to defend the natural world. Now, Polly submitted a definition to the United Nations in 2010, and ecocide is the extensive damage to, destruction of, or loss of ecosystems of a given territory, to such an extent that peaceful enjoyment by the inhabitants of that territory has been or will be severely diminished. Now, the International Criminal Court, the ICC in The Hague, has a governing document. This document is called the Rome Statute. It's a document of international law. It lists 4 recognised international crimes that you will know about: genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and the crime of aggression. Our movement is about enshrining ecocide as an international law alongside these other laws under the Rome Statute. Now, we need to do this in tandem with people waking up within organisations and looking at themselves and what they're doing to the planet as organisations, but at the same time we need the fail-safe, and we need the fail-safe of strong international law. Now, I just need to speak a little bit about how ecocide can become an international law, because it's surprisingly simple. Any member nation of the International Criminal Court can motion an amendment to the Rome Statute. Then it only needs 2/3 of ICC members to agree for the amendment to be adopted under the statute. Small island states, what are known as sinking states, have an incentive to table and vote for ecocide law. But we've had this great news recently that Emmanuel Macron of France has said that he's going to champion ecocide law for France. We look forward to what that means, and we hope that he keeps his word. That's great, because a large country, a large recognised powerful country like France motioning this will be absolutely fantastic. But we actually don't need to have the big Western countries be part of this, because the International Criminal Court is a one country, one vote system. So a country like the Maldives, for example, have one vote. France has one vote. St Kitts and Nevis, for example, are a sovereign state. They have one vote. The UK has one vote. So these small island sinking states can actually band together in groups, and this can be put through as a binding international law, and that's what the campaign's about. Now, a little bit about law. Law's like a pyramid. First of all, you've got soft law, which is like the Paris Agreement, and these are agreed upon directives. They're well intended, of course, but just like all of these promises, they're soon broken, and they're broken basically by corruption, by lobbies, by big banking, etc., etc., which is these lobbies are, many governments are bought and paid for by these institutions, so it doesn't really have teeth and doesn't protect life. The next level of law is civil law, which is all about ownership and commerce. Now, this is where existing environmental law exists, and companies can be made to pay compensations, and they get a slap on the wrist, but unfortunately this is factored into their budgets, which obviously is ridiculous. It just means it's business as usual, litigation as usual. Now, the top of the pyramid is criminal law. Ecocide is criminal law, and this means that people of superior responsibility, i.e. CEOs of corporations or government ministers, can be held personally criminal accountable for damage to the environment. Now, with criminal law, individuals cannot hide behind the corporate entity, and those that are financing ecocidal pursuits may well be seen as accessories to this crime. So this includes all the financing of ecocidal pursuits, and of course we're here at Barclays to highlight the fact that they are right now invested in huge ecocidal pursuits, 19 and counting around the world, which are just abhorrent. Their investments in fossil fuel industries have gone up, not down, just at the time when the world needs them to go down. In effect, what they're doing is they're investing in projects in the global south, and we're all in this together. Basically, that's the mantra recently with COVID-19. But we really are all in this together. And you know, if you start doing this stuff in the global south, you're effectively just drilling holes into the bottom of the lifeboat, but just at the other end of the boat. We're all going to sink with this. So this really needs to be addressed. Now, so support ecocide law by becoming an earth protector. You can do this. You can visit our website at stopecocide.earth. That's stopecocide.earth. And what we want to say to investors in harmful ecocidal pursuits is that you just need to wake up. You need to wake up from your cubicles and separations in the bank, and you need to ask questions, blow the whistle, do something extraordinary, and transform the toxic culture within the organisation. Meanwhile, we are going to get ecocide enshrined in international law. So these police that are here today to marshal the interests of the big banks in this area of London, at some point in the future, will be walking through the doors, potentially to arrest CEOs and people high up in these banking organisations. We don't actually want people in the dock. What we want is a powerful steer of ecocide law becoming on the horizon. When ecocide law is on the horizon, investors will not invest in it because it's going to be illegal, and insurance companies won't insure it, and governments will not give permits because they will see this law coming, and that's where the real power is. So come and visit us at stopecocide.earth.
Stopecocide.earth.
Stopecocide.earth, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, you're welcome.
No, keep up the good work.
Thanks.
And if somebody watching could go and just put that website up on the stream, that would be amazing. Stopecocide.earth. Oh, stop for a second. I just got to get the back of your t-shirt. There we go. I can see it there. You can see it there. Yeah, stopecocide.earth. Yeah, so you know, people watching at home, get involved. You know, don't be just sitting there clicking likes. As you've just heard from Matt, we're all in this together. If we don't do anything, nobody's going to do anything, and we need to be tackling Barclays at all fronts, HSBC as well, all the big financier companies that are actually supporting and investing in fossil fuel extraction. We've just heard that the amount of money that's been invested globally since the Paris Accord signed is $1.9 trillion. If all that comes to a realization of the extraction, it's going to put the global temperatures way over 3.5 degrees. So we need to act. We need to act now. As you can see here, there's the crime scene is now developing. We thought there was just one crime scene. It looks like now that we have quite a lot more coming out here. We got this coal mine in South Africa. It's almost the world's top 20 CO2 emitter. We've got NTPC, one of the world's top coal plant developers. Oh, this place is just absolutely plagued in different. Oh, look at this, BP. Barclays is also an investor in BP. Yeah, with all the bullets over it, it's very hard to read. But yeah, you know, we're just turning a blind eye to the involvement with Barclays. Oh, it's just, this crime scene is just horrendous. It's just getting worse and worse. Talking about the Canadian mining companies. ExxonMobil, I think it's today or yesterday is the anniversary of the huge oil spill that we've had. And Barclays is Europe's top financier of ExxonMobil. Unbelievable. Barclays is also an investor in Duke Energy. So yeah, this crime scene is just absolutely horrendous. We've got Shell. Yeah, Barclays also investing in Shell, in Royal Dutch Shell. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's just pure carnage in this crime scene. Adani, the Indian Corp Group, planning on building one of the biggest coal mines in the world in Australia. If it goes ahead, it's going to have irreversible damage to the Great Barrier Reef. And surprise, surprise, Barclays supporting these practices through underwriting Adani's bonds to the tune of 421 million. Yeah, so it's just crime scene after crime scene after crime scene. You know, it's just I just don't know where it's going to end. Barclays sinks over 300 billion through direct lending and underwriting bonds to this Finnish state-owned utility company, thus being the largest sponsor. $3 billion US. Wow. So it's constructing a new Western coal plant. Unbelievable. This is just a horrendous crime scene. What do you make of the evidence that you can see?
It's absolutely overwhelming. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, unbelievable. I thought it was just one crime scene. It's a crime scene after crime scene after crime scene after crime scene.
It's multiple crimes over many years.
Yeah. And
with a huge number of victims.
Huge number of victims. And do you think it's just one perpetrator, or do you think is there a group of people in this, or you know, who's the suspects?
Well, this is obviously a collusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a systemic collusion between a number of large and powerful actors. There does appear to be a consistent actor amongst all of these incidents, and that would be Barclays.
Barclays.
Mm.
Okay. And do you think are these police here to arrest Barclays today? They don't seem to be doing very much.
No, they seem a little bit unconcerned about the level of crime that's taking place here today.
Yeah. We got that guy from Barclays as well, just standing there watching what's going on. Well, officer, keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
You know, gather as much evidence as possible.
I will.
Hopefully this crime won't go unpunished. Thank you. Oh. So in case you're just joining us, we are in front of Barclays HQ in Canary Wharf. We're at a crime scene of ecocide, and it looks like that the Barclays has blood on its hands. We tried delivering a letter to the CEO, and they refused to take it. Just going to have a quick update. Hi, how you doing?
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw you delivering a letter to the CEO of Barclays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like has the letter been taken in?
Yeah, it's been taken away.
Yeah, they seem very frightened of you.
Yeah, they were. They wouldn't open the doors, they wouldn't let us in.
They wouldn't open the doors?
No, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they've taken the letter now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wait and see if we get a response from them.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Keep up the good work. So, officer?
Yes.
How's the investigation going?
It's going well. We've gathered more evidence. The inability to take the letter has been noted.
Yeah.
And the silence has been noted as well.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure we do a wide and full investigation. So this is just one of many names that we're looking into at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Who else are you looking into?
Unfortunately, we were looking into all banks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the whole financial sector, because we can't rule out just one person. We have to be fair and equal in our inquiries.
Yeah. And it looks like I just can't believe the crime scene behind us here.
Unfortunately, there's so much evidence, and it is stacking up. But we must make sure we're very thorough in each part of the evidence, and go towards slavery, apartheid, and ecocide. Each one needs its own full investigation, and there is connections, unfortunately, between all three.
And are they not like concerned about the fact that they've got blood on their hands with their unethical investments?
We can only assume what their concern is at the moment. The silence is deafening.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure we talk to the right people. So we've delivered the message to the right person, the CEO. We're going to where the concern is and where the evidence is going today. We're going to try and make this as slick as possible.
Yeah.
That's the full update so far.
Thank you. No, thank you for the update, officer. I was just really like to know what do you think the motivation is?
Pardon, just say one more time?
What's the motivation?
We can only assume we're following the money.
money.
So we have to follow the money all the way to where it leads.
Yeah.
And we feel like there's too much information, and we find out where the money is going, unfortunately, so we need to find where the money leads to us too.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, officer. There you go. So yeah, so it's, you heard it there. We're going to follow the money. It looks like this crime scene is turning into a disaster scene, getting blown away, which is only going to actually help Barclays PLC. They obviously don't want any evidence. They don't want people talking about it. They don't want spreading the word exactly what's going on. You heard that there is things that we can do. If you bank with Barclays, go to switch to an ethical bank that doesn't invest in hydrocarbon, fossil fuels, ecocide, apartheid. So that's something you can do from home. You can also write to your banks, tell them it's simply not good enough. Yeah, they're trying to salvage the crime scene here. Lots of police all floating around the place. Looks like they've gathered enough evidence. Going to see what's going on down here. So what's the plan?
Just go for a shot and we'll go.
Yeah, great. Okay, so it looks like we've got enough evidence now to get cracking on. I think we've got enough evidence to present to these guys to see if they'd be interested to see what the crime is. Big shout out to lots of comments coming in from people all over the place. Thank individually. Yeah, so thanks everybody here for watching. And we just need to, we all need to take action. The time is ticking. We've heard some pretty frightening reports coming out last week and the week before. Media climate change, talking about the fact that the government, the UK government, is failing on pretty much nearly all its targets. By its own admissions, we're heading for 3.5 degrees of warming, which, listening to the science, is going to lead to an uninhabitable planet for most of the people. Oh, we're going to have a getting directed of having a group shot. It's going to come out of it. So give you a wide-angle view of where we are. So we've had the police watching. So this is the HQ. Headquarters of Barclays PLC in Canary Wharf. Where they refused to come out and take a letter that was going to the CEO. It was left on the doorstep. I've heard now that it has been actually taken in. Self-picture here. Rebellion! 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 There we go. Good job, everybody. Stop ecocide, change the law. Also go on to the website. There we go. So everybody watching, please take this on board. Get in contact with your local bank, whoever you bank with, tell them that their investments in fossil fuel, hydrocarbons, ecocide, slavery is totally unacceptable, also like the arms trade. Also, we've got a rebellion coming up later this year, so we want everybody to go out and grow the numbers. So if you're a member of a local organisation, please do the Heading for Extinction talk and grow membership. If you're not a member, go and join one. If there's no local one, go and form one. Go onto our website, Extinction Rebellion, just Google it. There's loads of information out there. We are on the right side of the law on this, on what we're doing. It's been proven that the acts of the financiers and the governments is simply not good enough. If we follow the plans, we're going to be heading towards a hothouse Earth. So we need everybody to act. We need everybody to get involved. We need to take, really up-to-date. It's when we're trying to set out carbon budgets. We've got a taste from COVID-19 that during lockdown that the world kept on spinning. We did have to change our ways. We discovered that without having an environment that's supported by a system of spend, it falls down pretty quick. So we need to change also the way that we look at things, the capitalist system. We need to stop the concept of GDP growth. We cannot have continuous growth on a finite planet. It's simple maths. It's something's going to give, and I think the planet is going to win that one pretty quick. COVID-19 has also showed that we can live without having to fly all over the world all the time. So we can reduce travel, we can reduce flying, we can change our ways when we're confronted with an existential threat. With the ecological and climate emergency that's coming, this is a way bigger threat, and we need to be acting and acting. So big shout to there's lots of people watching. Please share. Please go and harass the bank, financial institutes. Yeah, and come and join us. Okay, thanks, Brian.